guys, this is going to be my 20 questions video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 20 questions or if it's going to be more. I've got quite a lot. I haven't actually counted how many there are here. But this is kind of like the Q&A video that I requested questions for a little while ago. If you've got any more questions, then please leave me them in the comments, because I do like videos like this and I can't really do them without questions from you. But I had all sorts of different questions, so let me just see how many I've got. Would you believe I've got exactly 20 questions written down? I haven't actually read through them before I went ahead to start filming, but obviously I read through them to type them up. So, well, we'll go through and see what they say. I don't know who wrote these questions, so I'm really, really sorry, but if you want to claim them in the comments, go ahead. Number one, I got a few of the same kinds of questions as well, like this one, a few different people asked. What is your best high school memory? This is really tricky for me because I didn't have the best time in high school or secondary school or whatever you want to call it when you're in England. I can't really remember any outstanding, wow, that was a great day kind of moment. I didn't have the best time. People bullied me and weren't very nice to me, and I left at my earliest possible convenience. I tried to stay on for sixth form and I only lasted 2 months. It was really horrible. People just weren't very nice to me. I can't explain it. I had friends. But then I had the people that hated me as well, no matter where I went, no matter which school I was in, no matter what grade I was in, what year I was in, there were always people that took a dislike to me. And they do say, if it's one person, perhaps it's them, but if it's several people, perhaps it's you. But I don't believe that in this case, but I didn't have tons of great high school memories as a result. So I'm sorry I can't really answer that question. I'm sure there were good memories, they just don't stand out to me. What was your style, teens and early 20s? Looking back, things that were too small or too tight for me, nothing that looked good on me, that is for sure. There are things that because I hoard clothes, I've never thrown anything away until very recently. I went through some stuff and I can't believe the stuff I used to wear. There was a tiny, tiny skirt that I don't think I could even get over my thighs right now. It would be a belt, an actual belt. I remember wearing this and absolutely loving this skirt, and it did fit me, you know. I don't think I ever looked in the mirror and thought, no, this is a little bit, But perhaps your judgment is a little bit skewed when you're a teenager. But bear in mind, this was, when I'm talking teenagers, early 20s, I'm saying before I had Ella, and I had Ella when I was 19. So after that, I became slightly more conservative. Not tons, you know, I was still a early 20s person, but I would wear kind of jeans and a t-shirt a lot, even when we were going out and things. I wore dresses and stuff as well, but generally when I look back at that kind of period of my life, nothing suited me, nothing was flattering, nothing fit me well, and I just didn't dress for my body shape. So yeah, that was a kind of phase. I also had a kind of grungy kind of phase where I wore, it's what we used to call sweaty when I was at school anyway, but I don't know, it's kind of goth, like where you listen to the hard rock kind of heavy metal kind of music, and there was just kind of a style that went with it, like cartoon t-shirts and big baggy jeans and all that stuff, and you went out on certain nights of the week and stuff, so that was a phase of style as well, you might say. Number 3 was, what would you be doing as a job if you'd never heard of YouTube? This kind of tickled me because a few people asked the same question. That you think that I earn enough money to not work through YouTube is kind of amusing. I would love to be able to not have to work. I'm still currently on maternity leave, and up until I started YouTube because I didn't have a job, and I'd been out of work for a while and I was just like going stir crazy, so it's basically a hobby. But it was never something that I intended to do in lieu of work. It was just a hobby, and then I had no idea you could even make money from it. I started making a little bit of money, but it's by no means enough to pay my bills. It's maybe enough to buy milk and nappies, but it's not a huge amount of money at all. So I still intend to go back to work, but I was a temp, so I've got to look for another job. So I've still got a few months left of my maternity pay before I need to do that, but I will try and put that off as long as possible to spend time with Milo at home. But it's not my job. YouTube isn't my job. Number 4, what is one beauty product that is only available in the US you wish you could have in the UK? One product. I don't know. Because there's nothing really that's completely ungettable. The only thing that I really, really wanted once was a Lorac highlighting powder. I couldn't find that anywhere. I couldn't find it on eBay. Most things I've wanted to try, if I really wanted to get them, I could get them on eBay. That's the one thing that I've really struggled to find So perhaps I'm going to say that Lorac highlighting powder. I forget what it was called, like Spotlight, I think it might have been called. But I'd seen all these swatches and it looked amazing, and Kim Kardashian supposedly used it and it looked really awesome. And even when I was in the US, I saw it and I didn't buy it. So obviously, you know, I didn't want it that bad. I think it was about $30, so it was quite expensive. But that was the one product that I think if we'd had it in the UK, I would have bought it by now. What's the worst beauty-related decision you've ever made, i.e. haircut, fake tan, etc.? Oh, probably both of those things. I've had the worst things. I once had a haircut, and this was not intentional. I bleached my hair to the point where it was breaking off, and I went to one hairdresser's and they cut it into a bob, and I was so upset and it was so horrible, and it was still this horrible colour. So then I went to another hairdresser's and said, can you do something about the colour? Because, you know, the cut is bad enough, but this yellowy blonde that I've got. They then proceeded to cut it all off into a complete crop. It was so bad, I cried leaving the hairdressers. I cried all the way home on the bus. It was really awful. It was like this short, all over. I've got no pictures of this. I didn't used to take pictures ever. And obviously I didn't want to take pictures of myself because I looked so ugly as far as I was concerned. I then had hair extensions which were awful. It cost an absolute fortune. And the hair was so short, it didn't cover the bonds. So I had a full head of hair extensions which was so obvious. That was pretty horrendous. And fake tan in general. I don't look good with fake tan on. It just doesn't look good on me. I think the sun's gone in. Suddenly my lighting seems to have dimmed. But yeah, fake tan doesn't generally look very good on me. If I can get a real good gradual tan, that's kind of as much tan as I want. If I go full on orange, I look ridiculous. There are some awful pictures of me with fake tan on. If you had your own beauty brand, what would you call it? I haven't put much thought into this because I've never really considered that I could do that. But I will say, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a fashion designer. Little did I know that it was the most competitive thing I could possibly have ever wanted to do, and I'm not a competitive person. I remember going to high school, and the first day, it was kind of in this big room, and they said, oh, what do you all want to do for a living? And about 100 people put their hands up and said fashion designer, and I just thought, oh, okay. So that's pretty much, I let go of my dream then and there because I'm not a competitive person. I just liked drawing and art and all that kind of stuff and thought that was the way forward. But regardless, when I was a kid, I decided I'd been going to be a fashion designer, and my brand was going to be called Kia because it's Kyla without it's like every other letter, so K-H-I-L-A. Just a second. Anyway, that was the door. So yeah, that's what I would have called it, so I guess I'm just going to go with that because that's what I wanted. Although there is now obviously the car called Kia, and I was very frustrated when I discovered that. When I was a little bit older, I was like, what? They've stolen my idea. But that's what I would have called a brand, and I've not really thought about it since, so I'll say that. If you couldn't call your children Milo and Ella, what would you call them? That is tricky. If Milo had been a boy, if Milo had been a girl, we wanted to call him Alexis Jane, because we liked Lexi J. Alexis Jane. So I'm going to say if Ella wasn't called Ella, I would call her Alexis Jane. And if Milo hadn't been called Milo, there were lots of names we liked. I really liked Dylan. Ella hated Dylan. It was always the name that I thought of. I really liked Dylan. Since I had Ella, I thought, if I have a boy, I'm going to call him Dylan. Ella hated it. It wasn't until we finally settled on Milo a little before he was born that Ella said, I quite like Dylan. Anyway, Dylan was the #1 contender, and Zach was in there as well, so perhaps those names would have been. Where are we? I should really have put in a marker. Have you got a tattoo? Yes, I have got a tattoo. My tattoos video, surprisingly, is like my #1 viewed video, and it's one of those things that it was something someone requested, oh, tell us about your tattoos that you've got, and I did it, and I had no idea. It's had like 250,000 hits compared to my normal 2,000 or 3,000, so people are interested, and I don't know if it's just a bunch of pervs out there expecting to see some skin, that they're looking at girls talking about their tattoos. I would imagine that's part of the reason, but a lot of people are just going on there to criticise and say, oh, they're so ugly, you're so stupid for having tattoos. But I have got quite a few tattoos. I've got lots of tattoos that I regret, and probably if I had my time again I wouldn't have any, but my #1 thing, I wish that I'd kept them all black, and I wish that they all made sense. I wish that they all had some kind of coherent, they all matched in some way, but they're all totally random individual tattoos, but they're all memories in a way. But if you want to see that, then I'll link that video below if I remember. But it's an old video. Will you have any more kids? If so, would you leave a smaller gap this time? I actually always intended to have a large gap between my children, although obviously my first child was with my first husband and my second child was with my second husband. I don't intend to have a third child with a third husband, but although there was obviously a reason, it seems, to have left a big gap, I always intended to have a big gap. There were 5 years between myself and my brother, and we were really close. We obviously fought, but we were really close growing up, and now we're quite close as well. So I always wanted 5 years or more, and there were 6. I don't intend to have any more children. It makes me kind of sad to think that I'm not going to have any more. I have never been so popular. I've had Post, I've had a Parcel Force collection. What is going on? Where was I? Oh yeah, so yeah, I don't necessarily want any more children. It's sad to think that Milo is the last baby that I'm going to have, because when I had Ella, I didn't really appreciate it. I was 19, I couldn't wait to get back to being me. Couldn't wait to get back to work, couldn't wait just to be me again. And I didn't appreciate her babyhood. As a child, it was different, but I wasn't ready. And now I can appreciate it. It's kind of sad to think that I'm never going to get to do that again. And much as I don't regret having Ella, I regret having her as early as I did, because I wasn't ready. I don't want to say I didn't want her, but it's a completely different feeling, wanting to have a baby and trying to have a baby and then finally having this baby. Is totally different than it being thrust upon you. So, you know, obviously I had the choice as to whether or not to have Ella or not. I obviously did want her, but it is a completely different situation when you're actually trying to get pregnant and then have that baby. So it's sad to think that I won't be able to do that again, but I know that I don't want to have more than 2 children. And I know that if I have another one, because Milo is such an easy baby, I know if I have another one, it will not be an easy baby, because Ella was not an easy baby at all. She was so difficult as a baby, didn't sleep. Milo's sleeping right now. He's napping in the middle of the day. Ella, that would have been unheard of. So I don't intend to have any more children, but you never say never. You never know how I might feel in the future if we win the lottery. That's what I always say. When did you first become interested in beauty and makeup? Probably forever I've been interested in beauty and makeup. I know when I used to visit my auntie when I was a kid, she had drawers full of makeup and I was always interested and wanted to play with it and stuff. But I was always interested. It's just another kind of creative art form, and I loved drawing and art and stuff when I was a kid. How did you and Lee meet? We met at work. We actually worked in the same department, on the same floor. It was a big call centre type building. On the department, on the same floor for like 7 years and never met. And that was really unusual for that particular workplace. You knew everybody. We never ever met, and then we met, like we were put together in this group. It was really strange, and we were running a training academy. And it was just it's the strangest thing that we'd never met. It was just really, really strange, and we'd both met at the right time in our lives and what have you, but we met at work. What was your job before you had Milo, and is this the same job where you met Lee? No, it's not the same job where I met Lee. We both worked there for a really long time and then left at the same time, and decided that enough was enough. A call centre job generally is something that you, like it's a gap job. And a lot of people stay in this gap job for a really long time. You're stuck there because it's decent money, but there's nowhere to go and you're just kind of wasting your time. It's okay if you're young, but you get to a certain age and you think, how have I been in this job for so long? And it was okay because, you know, I was only about 23, 24 when I left, but there are a lot of people that are still there that aren't that young anymore, and it's difficult to start out something new. So regardless, we moved from there, and he went on to do something else and I went on to do something else. Several jobs later, I went to work for a rail company temporarily. Then I got pregnant and they were nice enough to keep me on throughout my pregnancy, and they did say that they wanted me back, but we'll see how that goes in a few months when I intend to find another job. But it was just customer services. I worked in an international customer service department. How do people respond when you tell them you make YouTube videos? Relatively positively, but most people don't understand. I don't tell anyone on my real Facebook. I would kind of be mortified if someone posted a video on my real Facebook. The thing about that is, I would probably get twice as many views if I just put it out there, because everyone that I ever knew from school and my like ridiculous amount of friends that aren't really friends on Facebook would all be kind of morbidly curious, like, ooh, what's she doing? And they probably all just want to take the piss out of me. So if I really, really wanted the views and stuff, then yeah, I'd put it up there, but I'm just embarrassed. I like to do it for the people that want to watch, and I don't want to think that the people that I used to go to school are watching these videos, or I'll start censoring myself and I'll say things differently and I'll probably become a whole different person. So I do tell people, like new people that I meet in workplaces or whatever kind of environment I might meet them in, I tell those people about it, and generally they're quite positive about the whole thing and they think, oh yeah, that's a nice little hobby to have. But most people are just like, I don't understand what you mean. Most people have never heard of like YouTube videos like these, so positive generally, but most people just don't get it. What is your favourite MAC product? Probably a blush or a lipstick. I don't think I have a, this is my favourite MAC product, because I'm not a massive MAC fan. But I love how everything looks so uniform, it's beautiful. And I like their lipsticks. Where in England do you live? I live in South Yorkshire, I live in Doncaster, which is very near Sheffield. How old were you when you started doing YouTube? I don't get this. I don't know if people just don't know how old I am, but I'm 26. I started when I was 24. And people are always like, oh, are your parents okay with you doing YouTube videos? Where is your bed in your makeup room? I'm like, I'm grown up. I don't live with my parents anymore. I think I probably look younger than I am. What do you do for a living besides YouTube? Well, nothing right now because I'm on maternity leave. Because I was a temp, I'm not technically on maternity leave, but I am, if you know what I mean. Kind of. I'm getting maternity pay, but I'm not technically employed right now. What did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be a fashion designer. Where in England do you live? I've already had that one. And lastly, what's your favourite brand of nail polish? It's quickly become Essie just because I love the packaging, the bottles, it's all so cute. But I don't think it's the #1 formula. What have I got on right now? I've got on an OPI right now, which I think is all OPIs. I've never been very impressed with them at all. They're really thin, chip really easily. They're just not hugely impressive, but I really, really like the Essie ones. Other than that, the Sally Hansen Salon Manicure, they're really nice as well. I've tried some of those from a cheap shop in Doncaster. I've not bought them full price, but they're really good quality. And I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I can understand why you would ask me, given my normal background is just nail polish galore. I think my next few videos, I'm going to film my favourites. I'm going to film the cupboard tour that was requested and a makeup room tour. So they are coming up. But if you've got any other questions you want me to answer, then leave me a comment with it below and I will get a bunch together and do another one of these in a couple of weeks, because I think it's really, really good, and I think especially when Milo's asleep and I've got a little bit of time to film, it's something that doesn't require an awful lot of prep. But I'm sorry this video is so long. I probably will do 10 questions at a time next time, but any questions you want, leave them in the comments below and I will answer them. Thanks for those of you that did ask questions for this video, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.